Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Good evening to you out there and welcome to an really love because it touches every one of us that live in this state, this Lagos state, right? And everyone who was a victim of the flood that happened on Monday, Tuesday. I mean, it's been raining all week, right? Anyway, moving forward, as always, we're going to ponder on new quotes. And this quote is coming from the Lagos Commissioner for Environment, Tokunbo Wahab. He said illegal constructions on floodplains and indiscriminate dumping of refuse are the key culprits of these floodings. I mean, we're going to open up this much later. But first of all, we're going to go on a break. And when I come back, I'll take you through my news interest for the day. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Still Ways, and this is time now for you to join me on a short journey as we look at some news that made headlines today in today's newspapers and some that caught my interest. So the first one I have says, all hands on deck. Federal government unveils theme for Nigeria's 65th anniversary. I mean, we're turning 65 in, I think, next week, Wednesday, on Wednesday next week, right? So now the federal government has announced Nigeria at 55, all hands on deck for a greater nation as the official theme for the country's 2025 Independence Day celebration. Now, the Director, Information and Public Relations in the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Segun Imohiosen, disclosed this in a statement on Wednesday in Abuja. He said the theme indicates the need for unity, collaboration, and patriotism among government institutions, the private sector, civil society, and citizens to advance national peace, prosperity, and progress. According to the statement, the choice of theme reflects Nigeria's resilience since independence in 1960. Stressing the importance of consolidating past achievements while pursuing loftier goals under the Renewed Hope agenda. Government agencies and partners are expected to align their programs with the anniversary theme to ensure its message resonates across all spheres of national life. As part of the activities lined up for the 65th Independence celebration, a Jamaat prayer will hold on Friday, September 26th, followed by an interdenominational church service on Sunday, September 28th. And there will also be a World Press Conference on Monday, September 29th in Abuja. Nigeria is turning 65. And, it's in times like this that, we want to take stock, want to count down, or what have we achieved? Are we where we want to be yet, And honestly, yes, we have achieved a couple of things in the 65 years of our independence, but a lot of things are still left undone. And it's really sad because Nigeria, by programming, by, you know, what's it called now? Forecasts. You know, we're supposed to have, you know, gone farther than where we are. But I'm not condemning anybody. We've done our best, have we? Well, we've done relatively good, but I think there's still more room for improvement. So let this be a time of reflection. Let this, I mean, all hands on deck is a good theme, right? So everyone is a collective effort. Nigeria belongs to you. It belongs to me. It belongs to everyone. Let's not leave the responsibility to just those at the helm of affairs. And one of the ways you as a Nigerian citizen can join hands in making the country better is getting your PVC. 2027 is just around the corner. And like we have seen, you know, in the fashion of this country, 2026, like my guest said yesterday, is going to just be majorly campaigns. In fact, they started it this year, right? So seize the opportunity. Don't say, oh, my vote won't count. Oh, there is illegality here and there. Do your part and, you know, let the rest play out, okay? So happy 65th Independence Day to Nigeria. Cheers to, you know, greater heights for us as a nation. Anyway, moving forward, my second news interest says, students protest fee hike by Lagos College, gives 48-hour ultimatum. Now, the students of the Lagos State College of Health Technology have asked the management of the college to reverse a recent fee hike in 48 hours or face mass protests. In a statement signed by the president of the Students' Union Government, Akolade Omotui, and the General Secretary, Favor Animashan, the students said the decision to issue the ultimatum was taken at a Congress meeting held on 23rd September. The statement noted that the decision had been endorsed by presidents of 8 departments, including environmental health technology, health information technology, medical laboratory technology, pharmacy technology, and the community health extension. Others are biomedical technology, complementary health and alternative medicine, biomedical technology, and morbid sciences. Now, should the school management fail to rescind the fee hike in 2 days, the union warned of peaceful but sustained protests that may disrupt academic activities on the campus. They said the students have unanimously declared the increment unacceptable and are demanding that the decision be immediately reversed. I mean, like I always say on this table, everything else is going up apart from take-homes. And you can't just wake up one morning and pull a fee hike on students. A lot of them in these college, they are the ones fending for themselves. They're the ones training themselves through school. So just pulling that up on them, it doesn't... You know, I always say, before you implement some of these things, let there be a timeline given. Let there be... Give them space to put themselves together before you effect any of these things. It doesn't make sense. People are already, first of all, we're clamoring that education is important, is this, is that. Make it affordable for these children. Make it affordable for them to be able to go to school. You don't have to break the bank before you can afford quality education. Nigeria has to do better. Like I said earlier, we're turning 65. We can't be having these conversations anymore, right? Anyway, to the last story of interest I have, it says commuters grumble as FCT bus terminals inactive months after commissioning. The story says the 2 buses commissioned by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have remained locked more than 3 months after their commissioning, leaving commuters in Abuja to continue to face transportation challenges. And Abuja Metro reports, rather, that the multi-million naira projects were commissioned in June as part of activities to mark President Tinubu's 2nd term in office. A reporter who has been tracking the project reports that the Nyesom Wike-led FCT administration conceived it to address the chaotic transportation system in the nation's capital. For Wike awarded a contract for the construction of the 3 modern bus terminals. According to the minister, the move was intended to ensure a secure and convenient travel experience for FCT commuters, create job opportunities, and reduce insecurity, particularly one-chance incidents, which he attributed to an uncoordinated transportation sector. However, nearly 100 days after commissioning, the 2 terminals have not been put into use. A cross-section of residents expressed disappointment over the continued closure of the terminals, especially as the activities of the criminal elements, like the one chance that was already cited, you know, the project, you know, is supposed to address this one chance, like we've seen, or like was stated earlier. But then, how can you commission these projects, give them hope, and then 100 days later, we're still not using it? Make it make sense. And if you hear the budget for these things, you'll be alarmed. You'll be wondering, right? What are we even doing in this country? Okay, so what excuse do we have for the commissioned bus terminals not to function? It doesn't make any sense. You came, you gave hope, you said, oh, these one chance robbers, they are the ones perpetrating this evil, so we're going to do this to, you know, curb the height of this thing happening in Abuja. And then 100 days later, come on. You know, I'm calling on Wike, because he's the FCT minister. You can't just come and you say something and then you spend money. Oh my God, the budget for these things they're enormous, right? And then it's not functional. We can't keep wasting taxpayers' funds like that. It doesn't make any sense, right? Nigerians demand accountability. We demand transparency in how funds are being channeled. You know, you tell us this is for this, and then that's all we hear about it. We don't... Oh my goodness. Anyway, make with this news what you want or what you wish. But then again, like I said, this is a call to the FCT minister and every other person in charge of these terminals. Let's get it working. Let's make life bearable for these people. And we are at the tail end of the year. This is September. We're going into October. And we know how these one chance robbers operate very seriously this season. You know, opening up these bus terminals is actually going to reduce, you know, the victimization that would happen if this is not opened, right? So please, let's fix this. Let's fix this. It's not a good reputation for Nigerians, right? Anyway, that's all the news that caught my interest today. Let's go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll dive into our topic for tonight. Don't go anywhere.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Staying tuned. If you're just joining us, tonight's conversation, we're talking about the Lekki flooding. And if you live in Lagos, of course, this is not a new topic to you. So we're asking how much of that flooding was nature and how much was caused out of negligence. You know, Let's hear what you have to say about this. I really want Lagosians in this conversation. So you can send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0818-038-4663. And also you can call on our phone lines on 070-2500-7749 or 0701-4242-420. Let me hear your thoughts on this flood. I was a victim, and I know a lot of people that also were stuck in the rain. And, you know, the traffic, everything that just came with it, right? So every year, Lagos floods, yet every year promises are made. The government blames illegal construction, blocked drains, terrain challenges, but residents are asking if enforcement is working. Why are the same areas flooded year after year? So we're asking, is flooding in Lagos inevitable? Or is it a failure of governance, planning, and civic responsibility? Right? Anyway, joining us tonight to actually dissect this issue, I have Adeni Arimoro, the Managing Director and Principal Environmental Consultant of A Fruitful Environment Limited. Good evening, sir, and thank you for joining me tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, Funke.
Great.
How are you?
I'm happy that at least I have an environmentalist here, right? Because the government keeps going on and on about how this is our, you know, our faults, our blocking drainage and all of that. So Lagos has drainage master plans, right? Why do we still see the same flood-prone areas submerged year after year? I can hear, okay.
Yeah,
I
because the city of, can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
please,
because
go
the
ahead.
city of Lagos in general, yeah, as the city of Lagos generally has actually suffered the effect of devastating floods. The Lagos State Ministry of Environment actually commissioned the creation of the drainage master plan for Lagos. Of course, this brought considerable improvement, but because of the inherent problems of blocking waterways, you know, and so many other things that people do that, you know, disturb the water channels, including construction. You know, we keep on having, you know, problems with flooding in Lekki. So, but actually, the master plan did help to some extent, but because of the continuous problem, I think there should be a revisit. They should actually review that master plan and see how they can improve it in view of the continuous problems. And of course, this problem also has been increased by the climate change effects, you know, which is making matters actually worse for people. So I think it should be revisited and improve upon to be able to tackle these challenges.
The climate change. But before then, the government blames illegal constructions and waste dumpings as, you know, the what did they call it? Culprits of these floodings. But are these not signs of weak monitoring and enforcement, really? It does not show weakness on the side of the government.
Yes, well, to some extent, there has been, you know, it has been weak. Monitoring and enforcement by the government are actually been weak. But we need to commend the government agencies for even putting it up in the first place to enforce and to implement. But we know that there is also room for improvement.
Yeah.
We need to do more in terms of enforcement, in terms of making sure that people do not block these waterways.
If illegal structures, right, are identified, I know we've been seeing a lot of demolitions here and there, right? But why, what happens? Why do we wait until the structures are built? And does it mean that these people don't come to do the due diligence? Or does it mean when they come, they are cleared, and then afterwards, when we see the effects, we'll now come back and demolish? I want to understand that process, really.
Okay, actually, they do identify illegal structures, and sometimes they do demolish them accordingly. But this happens only sparingly. You know, generally, what obtains that the violators just seem to settle sometimes, bribe some law enforcement personnel, and they get away with this. So the problem, continues.
So why? Okay, so now this is a problem in the government agency, because I mean, if you're telling me that these people know that this house is along the waterways and they're still collecting bribe, don't you think that is supposed to be a slap on the face of the government, in that regard now?
Indeed, it is. It is, and because of that, they should stop. They should stop, and they should just carry out their enforcement. They should do the needful and just not take any bribe, so that everybody can benefit. Because these things actually affect the people. So if they follow simple instructions, if they obey those laws, they themselves will benefit. So it's very important that the government agencies keep on, encourage them to do the right thing, and not take, bribes, so that the environment can be sustained.
Coming to climate change and resilience, how much of this flooding is linked to climate change, and what evidence do we have of rising sea levels impacting the city, really?
Okay, in terms of climate change, it's partly human anthropogenic activities, add to it. And as we said earlier, it's important that people should obey, should follow those laws, so that it will not, affect they themselves. And of course, talking about statutory laws and things like environmental impact assessment, they also help. It's important that before any development occurs, they actually carry out EIAs, or environmental social impact assessment. And this is important in order to protect the environment and for the project itself to even be sustainable, so that we'll not be having floodings and to be adding to the effects of climate change. So EIA is actually very important, and they help, in terms of curbing these problems, including climate change effects.
Every year, we see NEMA come to tell us, okay, this area, they are prone to flooding. These are the places that will be flooded. Now, I don't know what we do with those informations. I don't know what we do with that data, because every year we still see the same thing. It doesn't look like anything is being done. So now I understand that some part of these issues are caused by, of course, climate and stuff. Now, is Lagos investing enough in climate-resistant infrastructure? Or, is it just patchwork maintenance? Every rainy season, we'll just patch up something. We'll take people to, the internally displaced place that they have designated for them, or maybe set up press briefings telling people to relocate from that area to another area. Is Lagos really investing enough in climate-resistant, resilient infrastructure? Do you think we're doing that?
Well, they're trying. Lagos State is trying. Climate resilient infrastructure, or climate smart infrastructure investment, is yet, to be significant enough to impact positively in the Lagos environment. What we have seen from year to year seems to be temporary measures. Hence, the problem keeps on, persisting. Let me talk a little bit on this.
Yeah.
See, climate smart infrastructure actually refers to project and system design to minimize environmental impact while enhancing resilience to climate change, thus focusing on sustainability and efficiency. This includes integrating renewable energy sources, energy efficient designs, and sustainable materials to create infrastructure that support a transition to a more sustainable energy system. So utilizing renewable and green energy sources have consistently been the recommendation of environmental specialists. These include the use of natural natural wind and solar technologies, as well as the use of and the reuse of eco-friendly materials for buildings and for maintenance. So adopting all this will go a long way in reducing flood, disasters, and other environmental problems in the long run.
I really
So
hope
finally,
that. Go ahead, please.
okay, I want to say that the climate resilient infrastructure practices are few of the green initiatives that HC, that's the African Green Economy and Sustainable Institute, of which I am a member, is advocating. They are also, advancing this and working to implement it in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole.
All right. I was going to say, I really wish these people are listening because they look like they can really make do with a lot of counsel from experts because with everything they've been doing, they don't seem like they know what they're doing, really. Because, I mean, who saw the flood on Monday? It was crazy. It was really crazy. People's cars were stuck. I saw cars fall into ditches. Now I'm going to ask, coming to the area of real estate, there's a rapid rise of real estate development in Lagos, especially on the island in Lekki axis, right? What role do these developers play in these floodings, right? Are they being allowed to build without strict environmental assessments? Are they allowed? Because there is a real estate company every 5 blocks you walk on this island. So how are we ensuring that these people are not contributing to this flooding? Because to me, I feel like a lot of them don't even consider all of this. So how do we check them? How do we put them in check?
Okay, very good. I mentioned it earlier. First of all, definitely not that developers, should go ahead and start constructing, making estates without proper EIAs, without proper environmental impact assessment studies, and even approval. After the studies, those EIAs must be approved before they start such developments as estates, and construction of buildings, especially very big buildings and big projects. So EIAs are very critical to sustainable development and indeed in helping to reduce, flooding incidences in Nigeria and in Lekki particularly. So this aspect of EIA is actually my passion. Okay, EIAs are usually conducted not only for regulatory compliance purposes, but also for environmental, sustainability, for environmental considerations. So, Fuke, you see, EIAs are so important, so crucial, because they help all stakeholders, to make well-informed decisions, that can sustain not only their projects, but, the environment itself, the environment of which that project is coming, to reside. And of course, it will also protect the socioeconomic environment, the people, their culture, even their health. So EIAs are mandatory, they are important before, those developments. So we need to keep on educating them, we need to keep on encouraging them to carry out these studies so that, can reduce floodings and other disasters that come as a result of.
Before I go on a break, I would like to ask what role, zoning laws play in reshaping Lagos' future as a coastal megacity.
Thank you. Zoning laws are actually regulatory frameworks established by local governments to control land use and ensure that development align with community goals related to public health, safety, and real estate values. So these laws will actually, no doubt, play a vital role in remodeling the coastal megacities of Lagos now and in the future. Such municipal laws or regulations will help govern how properly we should use, specific things in geographical locations. Zoning laws will designate the type of operations that are allowed in a particular site and regulate how real estate and properties should be utilized, depending on whether they are for residential, they're for commercial, or for industrial use. So zoning laws are very important. They really shape, Lagos for the future.
All right, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about how we can introduce technology, to help mitigate flooding in Lagos. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're having a conversation about the Lekki flooding that we've seen since the beginning of the week. We're asking how much is nature derived and how much was caused by human negligence. And I have an environmentalist with me opening up, unpacking all of these developments. Thank you, sir, for still being with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Great, thank you. So, coming to technology, right? How can we introduce smart drainage systems to help mitigate flooding? Or is it simply beyond, our current capacity?
Well, not necessarily. Yes, and as we also mentioned before, maybe I'll reiterate it. Smart drainage system and techniques could help to actually mitigate flooding and improve the general ecosystem and our structure, our environment in Lekki. So it's possible, it's implementable. It's just that we need to have the right frame of mind. We need to buy into it. The other time we talked about green technologies. When we start implementing all this, we need to start psyching, our minds, our hearts, to move to these green technologies, which will actually improve our environment. So it is possible, it is doable, and we encourage it, we promote it.
Yeah. So, government is doing their own bit. Let's come to the people themselves. What are some community-driven initiatives you think we can put in place to complement the government's actions on this flooding issue? What can the people do?
Okay. So, education, awareness, we need to also go to the grassroots. We've been doing that. Been involved in World Bank projects and other projects that actually target the grassroots, that target the communities. So we carry all of them along. We train them, we teach them what to do. We tell them the value, of implementing green initiatives, of planting trees, the reason we should not block waterways, we should not construct on water channels and things like that. So education is very important, advocacy is important. We need to carry the communities along and work with them. Those are the things that I work with.
Yeah, so now let's talk about the economic cost of this flooding in Lagos. What is the estimated economic cost of this flooding? Every year, how much do we lose from, lost work hours, damaged goods? I saw some videos yesterday and I saw a supermarket. It was everywhere was filled with water, right? So, and I'm wondering how much of goods are damaged. This is one supermarket. Imagine others. So let's talk about the economic cost of flooding in Lagos, sir.
Well, definitely, just as you said, lots of things are lost. Sometimes even human health, humans, people die in such disasters. So we can't really quantify it, billions of naira of property are lost. So to me, it's just not worth it. Instead of wasting so much money, we can actually channel all that resource, all that value into those sustainable projects that we talked about and simple ways of mitigating such floods, could be implemented. Said education, applying green technology and so on. it's cheaper in the long run. You can imagine using all those billions of naira that we lose in property, channel it into these technologies. It
Yeah.
really go along.
So are you advocating that we place like an embargo on building more housing estates in especially these flood-prone zones, and then use the money, like you have said, to build more infrastructure? So are you saying the government can put a pause on more constructions now in these areas?
Well, again, before constructing, it's always good to do an evaluation, to do an assessment. Okay, so like you said, environmental impact assessment, that study will actually show what kind of buildings are needed and where to construct. Okay, so not necessarily that we should stop building. We can't build, but where to build and how to build, is key.
Projected 15 years from now, if we're still working in this frequency, right? This, I want to call it sluggishness, but I'm holding back. If we're still working with this frequency, government, the people, what would Lagos look like? Because I feel like it gets worse every year.
Yeah. Well, for me, I think there's going to be an improvement.
Oh, how so?
Many more people are becoming aware. Even the those in authority are becoming more and more aware, and they're actually taking measures. So I believe if all hands are on deck, including the people themselves, I said change of mindset,
Yeah.
change of. I think something good will come. Something good will come. That's I'm just being optimistic.
Okay, now at in the area of refuse dumping, right? Because this is where we can hold Lagosians, responsible. This is their own fault. But then I was looking up something sometime, and I saw that China, they found a way. China was messed up, with refuse a couple of years back, and over time, some guy came up and sold a proposal on how to convert this waste to generate electricity. And currently, I hear China is beginning to even pay for refuse because they don't even have enough refuse now to sustain the power plants that they built. Right? Can't Nigerians adapt this? Can't we look into these areas? Because now we have refuse everywhere. Lagos has, I don't know, to be very honest, Lagos smells to an extent. This is really sad to say, but yeah, it shows how much refuse that we have lying around. Don't you think there's something that, the government can do to convert these things to our own profit?
Very true. Very true. They can. And I think they are doing something along that line. If you notice, especially for plastics, if you notice, bottles now are being gathered. Before, some 5-10 years ago, we just litter the environment with bottles and plastics. But if you notice, in the last, let's say, 3-4 years, they've been gathering plastics. And those things, they are recycling them, they're using it for other things. And it's also more or less cleaning the place. And I know Lagos State is also putting up a facility whereby they're going to gather a lot of, they're gathering or they'll be depositing waste so as to use it to generate power and some other things. So those things are actually in progress. And I believe over time, things can take shape, especially with the cooperation of the people.
But then you said they are working on it and all of that. How far have they gone? She is not, allow me to speak the Lagos slangs. It's not audio. You know how they come and they tell us, oh, policies are in place, this and that. How far have they gone? Is there a level of transparency that we're seeing? Are they carrying us along? Because yes, we want to know, we want to see. So how far have they gone really?
Yeah, as I said, they are actually making some progress. Maybe I may need the data to be able to back up the exact extent, but I know, like that example I gave of plastics, you see people gathering plastics, and and to me, I think it's impactful, and over time, I think it will work. And if you notice also the beaches, we
Yeah.
have clubs, school clubs coming to clean the beaches. They try to, remove especially plastics, and then they take it for recycling. Some use it to, make other products. In some places, they're even using to as raw material to make buildings, and things like that. So over time, as I think there can be some progress.
All right, finally, before I let you go, sir, as an environmentalist, right, let's say you were the commissioner for environment in Lagos State, what would you do differently to help us, out of this flooding situation? Because it's really bad.
Yeah, very true. Well, in when I was preparing for this interview, I reflected over the example of some countries like the Netherlands. The Netherlands, it's most of their cities are actually below, sea level, and yet they rarely have problems with flooding. So we can actually borrow a leaf from them. We can learn about their technology so as to improve the Nigerian situation, especially Lagos and cities that have flooding problems. So if we look at how they do things, how they build, and again, that what we said earlier, our mentality, we have to start educating our children from school, the need not to throw litter on the floor while on the road. So many things like that will go a long way in helping. So education is key. We need to keep on telling people, we need to keep on advocating. We won't give up. Over time, things, I believe, I'm always being optimistic.
Yes, I can see your optimism is very high. But then again, I mean, I know I said I was going to let you go, but do you think this recurring flood affects investor confidence in Lagos? Do you think it does that?
Yes, actually it does. And as a result of that, some people may prefer to go to other cities. And because of that, it will not help the economy in Lagos. So Lagosians really have to sit up so that investors will not be driven away from Lagos.
All right.
The
Thank you
truth is,
so much.
because of it.
Thank you,
Thank you so
sir.
much.
I'll have to let you go now. Thank you for joining us on tonight's show. All right, guys. We have seen that, floods are not just acts of nature. They are reflections of how well we prepare for the inevitable. Lagos is a coastal city, yes, but flooding should not always mean paralysis, guys. When illegal structures rise unchecked, when waste is dumped without consequence, when planning gives way to politics, because yes, somehow there could be a little bit of politics related to this. So when all of this happens, the rains would always expose the cracks in our system, whether we like it or yes. For Lagos to truly live up to its name as a center of excellence, it has to show excellence in protecting lives, properties, and livelihoods from floods. And like we heard our guests just conclusively say, this thing affects investor confidence in Lagos. It makes people take their business outside of Lagos, and it's not good for the economy of the state, right? So until then, every downpour will be a reminder that water finds its way, even when the government fails to. So this is a call to the government to rise and actually do things right. Because water would always, they say water has no enemy. It will always find its way, right? We can't patch it up. We can't, do a temporary makeshift. We have to find a permanent solution to these things. Yes, flood can be we can call it a natural disaster, yeah, but we can mitigate the effects that comes with it. And to you Lagosians that derive joy in putting your trash into the drainage systems, you're throwing it anyhow, I hope you're seeing the costs of this, and I hope you're enjoying it, because, yes, as you lay your bed is how you sleep on it. So you guys, everyone, I think this is 65th anniversary theme of Nigeria says all hands on deck. So I think this is a call to everyone to put their hands, stand your ground, to make Lagos great again, because this flooding is not a great tale to tell, right? We're losing lives, we're losing goods, we're losing business. It doesn't make any sense. So let's do better. All right. Thank you all for listening. And that's all we've got today. Before I go, of course, you know to subscribe on our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further. Drop your comments. Tell me how you felt, you know, from the beginning of the week till now. Have you been going to work? Have you been stuck? All right. Let us know in the comment section on YouTube. Also, follow us on all our social media engagements. Remember to like, share, comment, invite your friends and family to watch us. Now, if you missed our quote by the Commissioner for Environment, Tokumbo Wahab, he said illegal construction on floodplains and the indiscriminate dumping of refuse are the key culprits of flooding in Lagos. My name is Chioma Kalu, and this has been Waste Prime Time. Do have a good night. Bye-bye.